So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live. Yes, we are live, and we are coming to you here at lifestyleradio.net as well as .ca. I'm your host, L. Graham. Tonight we are also coming to you from the front window here at Canada's in downtown Campbellford. So if you're in the area, stop on in and say hi, and we'll get you involved in the program. Tonight I'm joined by my joint host, Alicia Doukhobor. She has a guest that helps educate people about the benefits of cannabis and also helps them with access to their cannabis medications that they need. But before we find out more about them, it's time for Alicia and I to have a bit of a gab. Well, Alicia, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing all right. Today was an excellent weather day, so I'm feeling good. And yourself?
Yes, and you have, and I've noticed that you have a new addition to your family.
Yes, we do. We have a new little puppy. Tessa is her name. She's a cross between a German Shepherd and a Husky. And she's white. I haven't seen a white German Shepherd. I don't know. I've never seen a white one.
Cute.
Yes,
cute.
she is. She's 12 weeks old. And she's doing really well. She's adapting to her new home, I'm going to say, pretty quickly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So lots of walks have begun, and they will continue for a long time. Usually 3 to 4 a day.
Well, it'll keep you young, hey?
That's right. Exactly. And well, talking about new things, I have a new puppy, but I also understand you have something new yourself. She's going, what's that? What am I thinking of? You have yourself one. No, I'm not going to say one. I'm going to say, according to this article, you have the greatest portable vaporizer concentrate vape pen to hit the market in a shatterizer, and that's according to Herb Co.
Oh my God, yes. The moment that I received my shatterizer, I fell in love. It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
I don't know how I vaped before it, and it goes everywhere with me, even to court. Like, I just vape in the bathroom, and and no worries. And sometimes I even vape just right out in the open because I think that, we were exposed to tobacco smoke for all of these years. I think a little bit of vape is not going to hurt anyone. So
that's right.
I love mine.
Good. Now, did you get a glass one or did you get a metal one?
Well, I like to drop things, so I got the metal one.
Yeah, I understand if you drop it far enough, you might get a dent in it, but it won't break.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you notice it has 3 temperature settings. Did you figure out how to work that?
I have, and also what I really liked was that you get 2 bowls, like 2 coils. Is that the technical term for them? In the package with it. And so no other vaporizer that I've come across, especially here, it's like sold here, does that. So I have one exclusively for my shatter and then one for some other oil that I use. Right. So it's brilliant. Yeah,
so did you get the coil version or did you get the ceramic one?
Well, I think I got let me check here.
Let me check. Oh.
Is
that your question?
Dual coil. Which one is
good.
that one?
All right.
That's
Yeah, I was talking to Matt on Saturday at the Global Marijuana March. He that's the one that he likes, is the coil. I'm a ceramic kind of guy, but we all have our preferences. But you get some real good clouds out of it, right?
So, okay, now you got me curious. What's the difference between the coil one and the ceramic one?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, the ceramic one, it gives you a complete, I'm going to say, heated bottom from side to side. So, sure. I'm going to get Al to come in here and explain this to us. Okay, Al, go ahead.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Al's there.
Oh, yeah. I just love it. I do.
Al's their unofficial tester.
Well, but you know, in all honesty, I spent how much money on that crappy vaporizer that broke in my hand?
Yeah.
And compared to the scatterizer, it's like night and day. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. As Matt said, it's made by patient for patients.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah. 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 Okay, thanks, Al. Thanks for coming on with the explanation.
Thanks.
You get back in your baggie into your shadowrizer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, let's see. I'll do a quick news article before we bring our guests in. I see here for the last few years now, the Conservatives have been hammering on Justin Trudeau over the fact that he admitted to smoking cannabis. Like, I really understand it was during while he was MP and all that. But I see now our Conservative leader of the opposition, Andrew Scheer, has finally come out and admitted that, yes, he too has consumed cannabis.
So is he trying to, like, win the popularity vote by suggesting that he's smoked cannabis in hopes that he'll get elected like little Trudeau did?
Maybe. It worked once. It might work again.
I think that, like, that's so lame. Like, I'm so sick of politicians and their BS games and, just be true to the people. Why is that such a hard task?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. You shouldn't be, forced into a corner to admit for something like this. But
you should be like, you know what? I think prohibition is BS, and I want to legalize to help, alleviate the stress of the civil rights injustice that's occurring. Not, I smoke marijuana. Like, seriously? Like.
Yeah, and it's getting old now. It's getting old now for politicians to admit that they're smoking cannabis.
I know. It's like, are we at a perpetual Groundhog Day? Because it seems like everything, like even Obama, when he got elected, he smoked marijuana too. Like, oh my gosh. Like, get some new material.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, talking about new material, let's move on to our guests.
Sounds good.
All right. And, he's new. We've never had this fellow on before, so... Okay, so at this time, I'd like to welcome the person described as someone who likes to help people with education as well as access to their cannabis medications. We'd like to welcome Chris Jordan to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. It was great seeing you there on Saturday.
Yes, man. It was good meeting you. And, I mean, everybody else in the Toronto marijuana activist scene, however you want to put it. It was such an event. We're so glad we went. I was there with my, one of my partners, Mike. Again, what event? I can't say much more about it than amazing. Being from Saskatchewan, being from Saskatchewan, you know, I mean, there have been people out there that try to organize events, and again, it just doesn't work as well as it does in the big cities like Toronto and Vancouver, and you know, even seeing the police out there, and I mean, just being a part of it, not bugging anybody. You know, I had a good chat with one of the police officers, and you know, they were there just to make sure that some marijuana hater doesn't drive a bus through that place too, right? Like, so it was.
They're there to protect us, correct?
Yeah, everybody was on board, and it was a lovely thing to be a part of.
Alicia, you have to get out here and see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I could just imagine, like the roots of activism just taking place,
Chris, go on more about as far as what you saw. You know, what was the park like? Did you find it festive? What all did you see there as far as being able to purchase?
Well, I wasn't. You know, I wasn't expecting the scene in the park after, and the vendors and stuff. You know, obviously, again, being from Saskatchewan, you just don't see that stuff up here, and you know, I've seen in Vancouver. But I know, you know, with the scene out in Ontario and the government takeover of it, you know, you just never know what you're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
But man, it was the support that's out there, the thousands and thousands of people. It's kind of funny. I went up there just to have a break. I've been doing this for a few years, and I haven't taken any holidays or anything. I went up to Toronto for a little holiday. And it just so happened that we found this event that was on at the same time, and it was just wonderful. Everybody up there is so cool.
Yes, it is. It's great. It's quite the time. It's a good time, that's for sure. So when I was there, somebody mentioned that you're about the only one who hasn't been on the program yet. So it's good to see Alicia's invited you onto the show.
Yeah, typically I shy away from things like this.
How do you? All right. I'm gonna hand the reins over to Alicia so she can start asking some of those questions, and I'm sure throughout the night we'll get some more GMM talk in, won't we?
Yeah, truth be told, I've been trying to get Chris on the radio for a while, and he's been dodging me. And so this time when I asked, and he said, "Yeah, I was happy."
Good.
So thank you for coming on and fulfilling my wishes. I'm very happy. So what I like to do with our guests is go back to the first experience with marijuana and let our listeners know what that looks like.
My first experience with marijuana?
Yep.
You know, I go back to grade 8. I'll tell you a story. It's kind of funny. So just some friends of mine, they were older kids in the neighborhood, and you know, we all pitched in a couple bucks and got a gram of marijuana. While these guys have experienced it before, and I was the only one that did. And we all had our personal little joint. Well, mine was parsley. anyways, they let me spark it up, and then they all started laughing. And anyways, then I had then I got a taste of the real stuff. And, you know, I guess throughout my life, until I was in my 30s, I wasn't a big cannabis user. I guess I'd say I used it more recreationally on the weekends and such. But yeah, the first experience was interesting.
So, okay, go back to, you lived in Yorkton when this was occurring, is that correct?
No, I actually lived in Regina. I moved to Yorkton later on in life. Yeah.
So then it was Regina where you had your first experience with cannabis, and this is street cannabis, obviously, given the time.
Yeah.
With your buddies?
Yeah, my buddies. Jesus Christ, these guys. But you know what? I guess, later on in life, obviously, when I was in my 30s, I have a son. He's 16 now, and he has a seizure disorder, and he's autistic. And after years and years and years and years and years of trying different pharmaceutical meds, I actually was contacted by Pat Warnke, and he obviously said he told me about cannabis for my kid, and And we chose to try it, obviously. Our first experience was with Canamed, which wasn't the greatest. It was going to cost me, a pretty penny to medicate my kid with an inferior product.
And so Canamed was the LP at the time, is that right?
Yeah. Well, when we signed up, when we got the doctor when we got the doctor on board, he automatically, you know how doctors do it. They don't give you a choice. They refer you to wherever, and they send your paperwork there, right? So yeah, it was Canamed right off the bat. Obviously, we only ordered them once. And, then obviously Pat turned us on to some superior product. And yeah, then I started using medicinally for my, my aches and pains and ADHD and all sorts of stuff that I was on Western Med for years. And, now here I am.
Wow. So through all of that, like, I guess in terms of like your son and accessing cannabis, like what was the biggest struggle even after you had access to cannabis, or what is the biggest struggle? Is it?
Well, the biggest struggle still is even with all of the, the videos out there and the social media and everything out there, my son obviously is low functioning autistic and we have care for him, right? So the biggest struggle for us as parents was getting the other people that are on his care team on board, and really getting them to buy in. Obviously he's been on a cocktail of pharmaceuticals, and it's not easy to get kids off that or anybody off that. So, and he's nonverbal, so it hasn't been easy. There's been some ups and downs with it, but, it's trial and error, just like anything. So,
yeah.
And so I guess what's the
successes?
There's
been some successes, mostly with his autism. Is
okay.
What we find. He's a little bit more chiller. He's not violent and he's just easier to deal with for the most part when he's on his cannabis. Yeah.
I've seen a few children that have used it for that. Some of the videos that parents have posted showing the difference between the children it's quite incredible for some of them.
Yes. There is actually a video. There is a video on of my son. It's actually a Best Bud Society video. It's on our Facebook page. If people want to watch it, they can go to a Best Bud Facebook page and check it out.
All right, I'm on my way.
Awesome. And so the video on Facebook, it goes through the progression of your son's process of getting cannabis and taking cannabis. There was some type of horror story that had happened with your son when it was being administered to him? Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't call it much of a horror story, but I mean, they made more out of it than it is. If anything, what happened showed us, obviously how safe cannabis is. So basically, his dose of his 1-to-1 Phoenix tears was 0.1, I think at the time. He taking it out of the syringe. While they gave him, a little bit more than that, quite a bit more than that. I'm not sure the exact amount. But again, if they would have done that with a pharmaceutical product, there could have been some danger there, and he could have ended up in the hospital or worse even, right? With this, he was giggling around, he's giggling around, and he had a really good sleep that night. I mean, so it's 100% safe, and like I said, if we were given pharmaceuticals, it could have been ugly.
Oh, and so it scared them more than it had scared him. Was that the story? Like they were kind of freaking out?
Well, I mean, I guess for us as parents, I mean, obviously there's a concern that the care home gave him a different amount. But again, like I said, when you're a parent and you're not there with them all the time, and you have other people doing that, like I said, it could have been something else. So,
yeah.
So it was really, it was more of a like, see, this is not such bad stuff. They made a big deal about it, a big scare, and I take him to the hospital and called me up, and I told him just to chill out. He'll be fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. And so in terms of how it's benefited him, you kind of touched on how it helps his autism and stuff. And so has there been any major improvements while using it, or what's been that been like?
Well, again with his seizure disorders, I mean, they spike up and down, right? I mean, it's so hard to tell really what's working or not. He was still taking another pharmaceutical that has some side effects. Like there's some stuff that we just haven't been able to get him off of fully. So who knows really how well it's working or not for his seizures. Like I said, they go up and down. But we've found the most benefit with his little, I guess, autistic quirks, you'd say. He wouldn't get out of a vehicle before. He'd have such high anxiety that his safe spot was in the back seat of a car. So it's like you just took him for drives, and you could drive for hours and hours and hours. I've taken him from Regina to Yorkton and back, just to have a nice peaceful day with him. And
nice.
But once we got him on cannabis, I'd been able to get him out of the car, and I could even get him into a Walmart and take him shopping, and the people at his care home have found it much easier. He's not spitting at them and hitting them, and people that are autistic have are really sensitive to a lot of things, and they need some peace, and when he's been on his cannabis, it's we found he's the most peaceful.
Nice.
Very nice. I was just checking out the site. Hunter's story?
Yeah, it's Hunter.
Okay, all right. I didn't listen to it, but I watched the video there. Must be your wife that was involved in that, and if it is, it's good to see that she's helping with the speaking out as well.
Yeah, the ex-wife, but yeah, she's it takes a team. It takes a team of people, man, to get
Correct.
Especially with any kid, especially one with special needs, and again, his mom's been wonderful.
Good.
Awesome. That's always good to hear a success story with a younger patient, because it proves that is medicine, because they're not lying.
Now, how is he consuming it?
There's been various different ways. I mean, the edible oils, you really have to hide it in food. Again, with autistic people, they're sensitive to different things, and if he finds something that doesn't taste good, so if he tastes that bitter oil taste that's in them, he may not take it again. So you have to find different ways and different foods to hide it and to get it in his system.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a game.
Interesting.
There's a lot of people out there. Go ahead.
No, I said it's kind of like a cat and mouse game with your kid,
Yeah. Well, there's always that popular question people ask: how do you get rid of that taste? And obviously, you've had lots of experience in doing that.
Well, you know what? Again, it's tough. You don't want to, with a kid that's so sensitive with eating different things, to take a bunch of Phoenix Spears and make a batch of stuff if you don't know he's going to eat it or not. It's kind of a waste of money. It's not affordable. So
right.
So we have to take the method of squirting it in different things. Squirting it in. He likes pop, eh? So sometimes I'd squirt it on the edge of his pop can so he gets it in the first sip.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
Huh.
Yes.
See, so it begs the question, though, like, you know how everyone still has this reefer madness over edibles and candies, because will he, like, or can he eat candy, like a gummy or something, or not so much?
Well, he definitely could. We have those, you know, he's eating those pineapple Lego gummies, CBD. From time to time, it's hit and miss, you know.
Yeah.
Really hit and miss with the kid that's autistic. If he doesn't like something once, he'll never forget. He'll never take it again.
Huh.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I guess so very much a different person after, like, getting off the pharmaceuticals, eh?
Well, 100%, yeah, 100%. And again, it hasn't been. He's not totally off of the pharmaceuticals. You know, he's still playing with them. They're sort of playing with the cannabis. But you can sure.
So, what type of pharmaceuticals is it, like, in relation to his seizures? Is that why?
He was off. He was off the seizure meds. But he was still on an antipsychotic because he still had those moments, right, where there was a little bit of violence, and they put him on the antipsychotic. And however, you know, with meds, there's side effects, and one of the side effects of the antipsychotic he was on was spike in seizures.
Wow.
You know, you try to counteract it with a little bit more CBD, but you know, that typically doesn't work when you're mixing those kinds of meds. So again, we try certain things, different cocktails, so to speak. You know, he needs to be medicated, because if his seizures don't stop, you know, he will die, right? So, you know, there is you know, there comes to a point where the CBD was working for a little while, then you get it stops working somewhat, then you got to add some THC, you know, then he's on a 1-to-1 eventually, and then the seizures are gone, but then they come back, you know, so back to the doctor, back to the emergency. It's really been you know, it's been a rough life for that poor guy, in and out of the hospital, but we don't give up, right? We still keep going and keep trying different things.
Yep.
And different ways to get the cannabis to work. Again, with the seizures, it hasn't been 100%, you know, like you see in the videos, but you know, with his autistic little quirks and sometimes, I guess, craziness, you know, it's definitely calming for him.
Yeah. That's good. Alrighty, guys. It's time for us to take a break. Time for us to have a commercial break.
I'm a chatterizer went on the break.
You're going to use your... Yeah. I have found out, Alicia, that Al had too much chatterizer before the program.
Oh.
Yeah. Something about flipping some switches. So we'll talk about that during the break. Okay. Okay, tonight our bumpers feature the music of the Clementine Band and the song "An Ounce of Goodness." And obviously, there's lots of ounce of goodness in cannabis, as we've just been hearing. When we return, we'll continue our talk with our guest, Chris Jordan. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live at lifestyleradio.net.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Least expected. Oh, the greatest gift of all. An ounce of goodness handed out to one and all.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarawana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Doukhobor. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet. www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
CTCP now operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
When your problems seem 10 feet tall, and there's no one you can call, you
back. Thanks for listening to the program. We are the Pace Radio Show, and we are live here at lifestyleradio.net, and as well as we're here in downtown Campbellford at Canada's. And just so you know, Canada's just actually got a shipment of Shatterizer vape pens in today. Right, Wayne?
You betcha, 15.
There you go. He's got 15 of them here in stock. So if you're in the area, stop in and grab one. We've been talking about them earlier in the show, and I'm sure we'll talk about them before we're done. I say tonight in the program we have Chris Jordan of the Best Buds Society, and my joint host is Alicia Doukhobor. Well, Alicia, we know that Chris has to leave at the top of the hour, so let's throw a pile of questions at him.
Sounds good.
All right, you're first.
I hope there's a because I can't talk forever.
So what do you do currently in terms of like cannabis industry stuff? Like, so take us there.
I guess me personally, I mean, I've been running the dispensary, the Best Bud Society dispensary in Saskatoon. I mean, since we opened last June. My partner Mike and I were actually opening, I guess you'd call it, people would call it a head shop. We call it a lifestyle supply shop in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. It's going to be called Inception Lifestyle Supplies. Obviously, with the cannabis industry in Saskatchewan left to a lottery, you know, we got a handful of applications in different communities, and you know, Yorkton, Saskatoon, Regina are one of them. There are a few of them, and you know, Yorkton. If we get a license in Yorkton for cannabis, we hope that it's going to be a recreational cannabis shop. So for now, it's a head shop. We'll sell a little bit of CBD there, and we'll go from there. And I guess we'll be selling the Shatterizers there too, apparently.
Awesome. And so in terms of your dispensary in Saskatoon, how has it been in terms of like police and stuff? You've been good?
You know what? I the Saskatoon police have been nothing but good, I guess. You know, I've had a couple conversations with a few guys right at the beginning when we opened up. There was a situation in here from a few years ago in Saskatoon with the Saskatchewan Compassion Club and a raid that happened, and you know, the egg was all over the face of the Saskatoon police, and you know, obviously from a community standpoint, you know, it proved to be a waste of, you know, valuable resources. And I say valuable because, I mean, Saskatchewan's not the most thriving place right now, and they really need to watch what they spend. And you know, I guess, you know, in this day and age, obviously, you know, with what's going on in our world, you know, spending $500,000 on raiding a cannabis dispensary is probably not budget well spent. You know. So,
well, and that's, I think, a thing that people fail to realize is like, oh, people are like, oh yeah, it's just another dispensary raid. Yeah, but that's our money being just like, you know, poured into drains.
It's a waste. So, you know, I guess we operate our dispensary, and I won't knock anybody's dispensaries. Everybody's going to operate their dispensary a different manner. I mean, we operate under, you know, certain guidelines and standards. And I mean, for the most part, we deal with people with medical prescriptions. And I say for the most part because we do have a few one-offs of people that just need the help. You know, I have an amputee that couldn't get a prescription. Well, damn right I'm going to help them. You know, so we operate, you know, pretty good, you know, in the day and age where you got dispensaries that are just selling to everybody right now, kids, you know, underage people, not checking IDs, things like that. You know, obviously we don't do things like that. And so I feel that's one of the reasons, like, they might leave us alone, you know, because there are some other dispensaries in Saskatoon that have been harassed a little bit. It's sad, but but it is what it is. So you got to be careful. And I guess by dealing with medical people and medical patients, that's, I guess, our loophole, as a lot of dispensaries across Canada operate under. So I guess we can only hope at the end of the day that, the authorities up here in Saskatchewan, I guess, say, do the right thing,
So far, it sounds like that's what they've been doing if they've been leaving you alone.
Oh, sorry, you cut out there for a sec.
Oh, okay. I said if they've been leaving you alone, it sounds like they've been pretty cooperative.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they walk by our store every day. There's beat cops. They walk around. They're okay.
Yeah.
There's been various interviews with the police chief in Saskatoon, and a couple interviews where he said some, I mean, in my opinion, positive things about the dispensary businesses that are operating here right now. So as opposed to what's going on in or what went on in Regina last month, where it was a little bit of a ridiculous situation happening, and it ended up kind of ugly with a protest in front of the police station, and it's a public relations nightmare for these guys. And for what?
Yeah, exactly. Like what we've been seeing with Project Claudia stuff in Toronto. They spent piles of money in arresting a bunch of people, and then they're all released. They're all not just released, but the charges are dropped.
And I've talked to Alicia about this before. I mean, they got to do an inquiry on how much freaking money that these guys are spending, and it's got to be put public, because Jesus Christ, is it a waste? Really, you're sending people back out into the streets. You're spreading police resources out into the streets. You're taking people that use medical cannabis as a harm reduction to get off of opiates or to get off of other party drugs like cocaine. And then now with when there's no dispensaries, they're put into a bad situation where they have to go into some house. And Joe Blow's got a little bit of weed, but he's also got a little bit of blow, and he's got a little bit of heroin or whatever else that they take. And you put people in a bad situation. And I think in a lot of communities they do understand that, and I think they wait it out and let it go or turn a blind eye, so to speak, because of that. So it's really, really unfortunate what happened in Regina. Where they made a war on dispensaries the other month.
Yeah, that's never good. Actually, I think we were doing a show. Alicia was a program with Jamie, and towards the end of the program, I actually said that, hey, I think my dispensary just got raided.
Oh Christ! Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, man. That's for sure. It's a sad state of affairs.
It sure is. Yeah. Is Alicia still there? Oh, she's gone silent. Maybe she's got her mic muted. I'm not hearing her. So I seen something today that Best Buds is putting on. You got some event coming up in June?
Well, it's actually not our event. It's put on by the guys at Dabcor. It's HempFest. And yeah, we'll have a booth there alongside with many other vendors from around Western Canada. Apparently they had one in Edmonton and one in Winnipeg within the last month here, and had some pretty good turnouts. So we hope, Saskatoon gets a good turnout. And if you do come out to show your support for the cannabis industry, stop by at the Best Buds booth and say hi. Good.
Now there's more than just one store, is there not? You've got there's a few different ones?
Yeah, there's actually two. There's our store downtown, and then there's Wendy's store on 33rd Street. Wendy is a retired public health nurse that got into the cannabis industry, also to help people.
Good. It's always nice when you get some people like that really want to help out and just want to help people.
Oh yeah. She's got her heart in it. That's for sure. So it's very good to see. Yeah.
So have you got anything else that's coming up that you can tell us about?
Man, you know what? I guess with the industry, how it's going, I mean, in Saskatchewan, with what happened in Regina, we had to take a step backwards here. Obviously, you still never know what's going to happen. So, I guess we're on a day-to-day sort of thing. We find out tomorrow whether we're in the retail license lottery.
I was going to ask you about that stuff.
Yeah, there was 1,500 applications that went in, obviously, but not a lot of them are going to qualify, or not all of them, I should say, are going to qualify to be in the lottery. Obviously, they put some, pretty heavy standards on there to get people to qualify. You have to have X amount of dollars, and it's got to come from, clean sources, and I guess they don't really consider the dispensary business a clean source. So there's been some hurdles that we had to, overcome to get involved. I guess to get involved in the dance, so to speak. We find out tomorrow whether our applications go in the lottery or not. You pay $7,000 per application.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, if you're not in the lottery, which we find out tomorrow, if you're not in the lottery, you get X amount of dollars back. So there's going to be a chunk of people that will probably get their money back, or some money back. But
now, how many
I hope I'm not.
How many are they going to allow?
There's 51 in the entire province, which is not many at all. I mean, at one time there was 19 dispensaries operating in the city of Regina alone.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, the limits and controls. They should let the market sort itself out, just like any other industry.
Yeah. Well, at least you guys are getting private storefronts, whereas here, as you know, we just got.
Yeah, man. I guess I should be thankful, and I guess we are thankful for even having a chance. Because again, in a lot of provinces, people aren't getting a chance. But again, I mean, seeing what I saw last week at that global marijuana march, this fight's not over, and and there's obviously a hell of a lot of things to be worked out. Legalization with 45 new cannabis offenses. Is there really legalization? So the fight's still on, and as different different political, I call them all crooks. As different crooks come in power, different things will change, and hopefully, obviously in Ontario is the biggest province we have in Canada. They need to give private people a chance.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Like when you saw all those vendors there, it's like as one of our friends says, a people's market. And it was just phenomenal to see all that, and it'd be nice to allow some of those people to actually become businesses, like a legal business.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially the amount of stores the government's going to put out in Ontario. What was it? It's not many. I think that, what do you guys have in the city of Toronto right now? There's quite a bit.
Well, as far as dispensaries, it's been over 100 in the city alone, and now they're just talking about 100 and I think it was 150 the whole province wide. We're going to open up.
I heard 147, something like that, for the entire province, and that's a joke. And that's just going to mean the black market's going to thrive. Sometime in the next couple months, our partner Pat, he's got a bus, and he's going to be out in Eastern Canada with this bus and a few other craft cannabis growers from Victoria and Vancouver area, obviously keeping the fight going for the craft cannabis industry. So, yeah, I look forward to that. I'm not sure they're going to have various different logos of different craft cannabis brands on on this bus, and they'll be doing a tour across Canada. So that'll be coming out sometime in the next month or so. We'll hear more about that.
Good. It's always good to see someone coming across the country spreading the education.
You'll see the bus at all the different cannabis events and other events, even like festivals and stuff like that. Like, we're really going to put it out there.
Good. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't seen Alicia come back yet. I know that Al's trying hard to get her back in the program, but Alicia, you're not there, are you? No, I didn't think I'd hear her voice. Okay, let's see what else we can talk about offhand. Legalization there. Now, what are you guys going to be allowed any type of lounges or anything like that in Saskatchewan?
You know what? We'll probably push that envelope ourselves. There hasn't been any mention of it. But again, with legalization around the corner, and I guess from our aspect, we say for medical patients, people need a spot to consume their medicine. And, what we were actually doing in Toronto was, checking out some vape lounges, and we've done that in Vancouver, and we hope to fire that up in our province, someday soon in the near future.
Good. That's always good to hear, because, well, Toronto, they have plenty of lounges for you to go through and check out, and each one is unique on its own.
Yeah, they're all different, and I mean, there's an industry there for that, and we're thinking. Even in our shop in Yorkton that we're opening, Inception Lifestyle Supplies, we're going to have a section of the store with, sort of a lounge areas and stuff, and if people want to book parties that are going to be cannabis type parties, we'll have that area for people to book private parties. So we'll be firing that up in the summer in Yorkton as well.
I know the ladies there in Toronto, a lot of them have been fighting for the rights for lounges to allow people to go someplace, because, yet again, laws won't allow public consumption. But to allow a lounge would be great. It would be same idea as an alcohol bar, where you could, instead of getting drinks, you get cannabis. And you get the much safer substance. Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. We got bars and lounges on every corner, and people coming and going in their vehicles, and yeah, it's against the law, but it happens, and they know what's happening. But you can't open a vape lounge.
Yeah, like I can walk across the street and watch people drink beer, but you can't have a spot where people can consume cannabis in the public, because you don't want someone to see them do it.
Yeah, they're taking it even one step further, I guess, in BC. They'll throw you in jail if they catch you with red eyes, bloodshot eyes, Yeah,
well, actually, in BC, too, I think if your plants that you're growing, your legal plants that you're growing are spotted on, like, a balcony or something, so they're in public view, you can actually get 90 days.
Yeah, isn't it ridiculous?
That's terrible.
Isn't it ridiculous? Many fights, because the majority of this is discriminatory, and they're gonna fill up the courtrooms, and they're gonna cost themselves a lot of, again, resources. It all comes down to resources.
Yeah.
Why do they want to do that? And the problem is,
it looks like we've lost Chris. Looks like we've dropped Chris. I'm going to go for a break and see what happens by the time we come back. And so right now, we're going to hear a little bit of music from the Killing Time Band and the song Ounce of Goodness. And when we return, hopefully we return and we've got everybody back. Until then, we're the Pace Radio Show, and we are live here at lifestyleradio.net.
Hey, this is Cheech.
And this is Chong.
And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
What is it?
Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time.
420 Radio?
Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
You're You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
We're good friends till the bitter end. 'Cause I'll never bend. You know we're bound by our sins. Promise you this, my old friend.
Man, have you been to Cannadays yet? Cannadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Cannadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Cannadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Cannadays. Have your say without saying a word. Cannadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
In 2017, the Canadian government announced that although recreational cannabis would be federally legal, its distribution and sale would be determined by individual provinces. Later that fall, the province of Ontario announced its proposed legal framework, that a subsidiary of the LCBO be the sole proprietor of cannabis in our province, essentially creating a one-party monopoly. This government-controlled monopoly could result in longer wait times, supply issues, and insufficient experience due to lack of proper consultation with the pre-existing industry. The provincial government believes this framework will restrict access to children and help eliminate the black market, but this proposed action will only push illicit suppliers further underground. Meanwhile, over the past 2 decades, there's been a growing industry of intelligent, savvy, and responsible cannabis entrepreneurs who have been working hard to provide access and education around the medicinal, therapeutic, and recreational uses of cannabis. We are Sensible Ontario. We're not new, but we're excited to meet you. Visit our website now and donate to become a part of Making Sense.
If you'd like to learn more about Sensible Ontario, go to sensibleontario.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Let your love light glow. Just reach out, take that full step and kick down the door. Just let it all go.
Hey, we're back, and I do mean we've got everybody here. We have Chris, and as you can tell, we've got Alicia laughing in the background. Hey, Alicia. Good. Okay. Chris, you've got a split, right?
Yeah. I got a little pre-date here with the wife here. I don't get much time with the family doing the doing the dispensary thing. So
completely understand. Completely understand. So I just wanted to give you some time just to do a shout out, to highlight a person, place, a thing, a website, anything along that line.
You know what? I guess I want to give a shout out right now to a guy in Saskatchewan that's been front and center in the fight here for cannabis. That would be Pat Warnicki, who's obviously got arrested. The other week, him and a few other loyal soldiers to this fight in the cannabis in Saskatchewan. And if it wasn't for guys like that, and there's guys like that all across Canada, but I'm in this because of Pat, and he's helped myself, and he's helped my kid, and he's helped thousands and thousands of people in Saskatchewan, and props to him for fighting the way he did and standing up for these people that are discriminated against. He's first. I got to give him some props, obviously, and some of the other people in the industry in Saskatoon. There's a lot to name, but obviously the people in the craft industry, the craft growers in BC and all over Canada that are fighting this fight to stay included. I got to give props to all those people. Our brand, Best Bud Society, and Inception Lifestyle, those are just brands, and those come second really to the fight in this cannabis and guys like Pat and other activists. So for those people, I like to say thank you and keep up the good fight.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly.
Thanks for giving a guy like me an opportunity to be involved in this,
Oh, no problem. That's what Pace Radio Show is here in order to help bring a voice to people out there like yourselves, to make you loud and heard.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for the opportunity to be a part of the show. And I'm a shy guy. I don't do a lot of talking. Again, I leave that to my partners mostly. So it'll probably be a while before I be on again.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe we'll run into you again on the streets in Toronto.
Yeah. So I mean, we loved being a part of the Global Marijuana March, and we definitely will be a part of more events like that in the coming upcoming months.
You got the fever.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
Okay, you too.
All
right, thanks, Russ. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Well, there you go, Alicia. There's your guest. You disappeared there for a little while. We continued on the conversation while you were gone, but he's a really nice guy.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, I didn't get to ask this question while he was with us, but I was going to ask him what it was like to have you behind the counter.
Oh yeah, you should have. When I screwed up the video of 420 here, I thought it was recording, and I was not.
You weren't, eh?
Or it could be my phone. Sometimes it likes to act as if it has its mind.
Yeah.
Of its own.
So how's apparently when you're gone there, you're into making some infused tacos?
Yeah, so for supper tonight, I usually get infused olive oil and coconut oil. And so as part of my regime to heal myself or keep myself well is I cook with cannabis. And so this evening I'm going to make tacos, but when I fry the ground beef, I'm going to use probably olive oil with the ground beef. And so it'll infuse it as it cooks it.
Nice. A lot of people ask for recipes, and really what I find is sometimes it just comes down to substituting, and that's, instead of using butter, use some infused coconut oil or olive oil, whatever you've got.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I always use olive oil, like a teaspoon here or there in my cooking, just to, spice it up a little bit. Yesterday I had fried some shrimp in olive oil, and I got a little bit carried away, but it was good.
Yeah. Now, do you find that it's more about, like some people think, holy smokes, you're cooking all that time with cannabis, you must really get stoned all the time. Do you find it more about cannabinoid therapy and keeping them up in your system?
Well, yeah. So, why does that happen? That when you're like a long-term user of cannabis, that you take your medication and your body's like, yeah, like I really love this, but you stop getting high, kinda, eh? Yep,
you do. And Allison, who used to be a joint host here on the program, she'd always talk about that. High doses of cannabis, and no effect whatsoever as far as your feeling, not getting stoned off of it. And it's looked at, the cannabis is off doing its thing that it's supposed to do, make you feel better, instead of getting you stoned.
Like, I wonder what that is called, or why that occurs, that the body is just like, yeah, I'm not getting high anymore,
Well, I guess if the thing is to get high, then I would look at it, you've become, used to that strain, you need to take something else.
That's true. Like, for me, I get high off of using my Shatterizer.
Yeah, the old Shatterizer. So there's a Shatterizer, I'm talking about being that we switched over to that. Now, is that something you find that is convenient to use?
Oh, for sure. Like, I Shatterize 24/7. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not staying there.
And how long have you had this for?
I don't know, just a couple of weeks, but I love it. So did I tell you the horror story of the vaporizer that I bought? I think I did, and it broke in my hands, and I was so distraught over it. And then I got the Shatterizer, and it changed my life.
Yeah. Now, is it something that, let's see, I've talked to a few people who have been actually stopped consuming the flower and have switched to concentrates. Is that something that sounds like is in your future?
Sorry, the what?
That you would stop or reduce the amount of flower, or stop the amount of flower that you're consuming and just switch over to concentrates?
I don't do any flour. I just do concentrates.
You just concentrates? Oh, you're already there.
I don't do flour. Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Because unfortunately, go ahead.
No, I learn something new every day.
Well, but there's a reason behind it. So when I first got sick with Crohn's or whatever I had, I think it was a gastric injury. But anyways, I had inflammation in my eyes, so I had iritis. And they had given me these eye drops called Restasis, which, if you look it up, it's actually fungus. It's a form of fungus that they put in my eyes. And every time this is an eye drop, pharmaceuticals for you. But technically, if you really research what the ingredient of it is, it's fungus. It's a fungi. Anyway, my eyes burn like crazy when I smoke weed.
Oh, really?
The only flower that I could smoke is Quarry.
Quarry.
Yeah, and it's pre-rolled joints in those black tubes.
Okay.
But other than that, I get a response from smoking flower like that in my eyes.
Now, is this black tube thing, is this something that allows you to consume cannabis without your paper?
Yeah, I'm not too fussy for smoking flower. I think it's kind of dirty, hey, as compared to concentrates, I would argue.
Well, obviously, concentrates are a cleaner way of consuming it because, you've removed all the plant material that you're burning.
But I also think that there's cannabinoids that you get from smoking cannabis that you can't get any other way, because I've smoked some really nice strains and felt a medicinal effect from it. But for a general rule, I tend to not smoke flower, but I love my shatter.
Good. Now you got something that you can really like to consume it with.
Yeah. And so what, like, in terms of like products, what are you like doing right now? What are you up to?
I've got my shatterizer sitting right here beside me. Unfortunately, I'm sitting inside the store, and here I can't use it inside the store.
Oh.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, it's against the law. They'll come in here and they'll arrest me on the air. That'd be cool, eh?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Let's see what else is new over there in Saskatchewan.
Well, so I went to Regina recently, which is the capital of Saskatchewan, and you cannot buy a thing from any of the previously existing dispensaries except for CBD products. They are all like locked up because the police went and raided them, hey?
Right.
To make way for these new like governmental stores, and I can just imagine what these stores are going to look like. And I just laughed to myself because it's like, yeah, leave it to the government to try and like overtake like quote drug dealing.
Well, I know here in Ontario, when we enter the store, our ID will be checked before we'll even be allowed into the store all the way. Like it's like a lobby area where they'll check your ID and then you'll be able to go inside. Like, you know, we don't have any, I don't know of any other store. Like, I guess at a bar, some people get checked for ID at a bar, but this sounds like they're going to check everybody.
Well, you see, and that just is like breathing reefer madness all over again. It's just a different form. But I guess it'll take like, you know, like people using cannabis and it becoming a normal part of society for people to dummy up and realize like, okay, like us like perpetuating these things about like high driving. Like if that were a scenario or if that was an actual legitimate concern, we would have seen it by now.
Yeah, we would have seen it by now for sure. And
anyone exactly, and anyone can inflate any type of like statistics to accommodate their position, like depending on how much money they pay.
Yeah. That's what's nice about having opinions or studies that are done where the person who's so there's no connection to it, so it doesn't look biased, you know.
Yeah, well, it's a large form of quackery, and I think that you know, in terms of like the honest, authentic truth is like patient stories and like people testifying and saying, you know what, cannabis saved my life, cannabis helped me from this or that, and that's what's like should be honored and respected, and instead that's just thrown to the side. It just like how the people from the pioneers of the industry are being just outcasted from this new quote legal market.
Yeah. Well, as you said, you know, anecdotal evidence is sort of looked at as it's just somebody saying something. But what happens when you go to the doctors and they give you some pills and they say, come back in 2 weeks and let me know how you were with them. So, like, you know, it just doesn't make sense where the one opinion works fine when it was with a prescription drug, but your opinion when it comes to cannabis doesn't matter, but it does matter on the other form.
It's always breathing this different type of reefer madness into things.
Yeah. Did you see that one article that was out there where somebody says we have to wait a year? The government's rushing into it. They haven't studied gene mutation caused by cannabis.
Oh yes, of course. Like, okay, I think that people who are very one-sided, like, for instance, Jehovah's Witnesses, no offense, but they're very narrow-viewed. The cannabis community, like, it can't be accused of that because the good comes with the bad, but in the same regard, it's the evidence is in the personal experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Exactly. Like I was talking to a lady recently where her father, who was dealing with Parkinson's, found some access to cannabis. We have places around here. We got 2 reserves near us. And yeah, they
motorbikes. That's really
crazy.
They
found that this patient with Parkinson's, their life has been starting to improve. Helped calming down the shakes in their hands. So once they saw their daughter saw the benefits, it changed the whole outlook of, I believe, in the way she looked at cannabis.
Well, and I think that just like there needs to be this kind of like ideology shift as to like when it comes to cannabis, because we keep perpetuating the same stuff and it's like it hurts people. Like the discrimination of just being a pot smoker is felt, and it has been felt. And I guess for me, I'm like frustrated because it's like, when is enough enough?
Yeah. The stigma that's out there is crazy. It's even though it's about to be legalized, there's still lots and lots of stigma out there. There's been basically 100 years of a lot of untold information, or some untruths have been said, and it's going to take a long time in order for that to change in society.
And I get that, but in the same regard, like, I mean, how did we get to, like, I guess we shouldn't say how did we get to that place, but how do we expect to get to a different place if we continue to breathe the same, like, reefer madness, like, if you're 17 and you pointed, or pass a joint, rather, to a 13-year-old, you're going to get charged, like, in the criminal code, like, how is that not, like, reefer madness? And so the stigma just continues, and it's like, I feel so defeated sometimes, because it's like, when does justice come?
Like a person of age giving a beer to a minor may face a small fine, but yet, as you say, somebody who gets caught passing to a minor, whether that person is 17 or even 18, depending on what province you're in, you're subject to jail time, really.
So I guess, how is that any, like, better? I guess to me, like, again, prohibition of alcohol, they repealed it. Why should cannabis be any different? And then you're trying to say, like, it should be treated differently. Like, you have to go into these little rooms before and show your ID before you can enter in a store. And I mean, that's reefer madness. And it's just like treating those people again with a certain air of stigma that they're second-class citizens. And why is that okay?
Yeah, it's a 2018 issue that they're trying to solve with a 1930 solution.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we are doing things now that they did way back then with alcohol prohibition when it came out. Yet, a lot of people would like to see cannabis legalization start off equivalent to what alcohol is now, instead of us waiting 100 years to have things change. Like, for example, for years now you could get alcohol in convenience stores in Quebec, but here in Ontario it's just finally gotten to some of the larger grocery stores. I don't know what's like for you guys out there in Saskatchewan, though.
Well, so we for the longest time we've had like government stores, and then thanks to the Sask Party, they allowed like private stores. Like, I'm not much of a drinker, so I don't really keep up in that market. But all I know is that's manifestly unfair to repeal prohibition of alcohol, but continue to penalize people for the use of cannabis, adult people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so where does it end? Like, I mean, there's always going to be the pigs at the trough, if you will, the lawyers, to be able to, go to court and prosecute these like crappy laws, but at what sense. Like, why wouldn't you just prevent that all in one? Like, do you see how they've created this perfect system to, like, just milk the taxpayer to keep perpetuating this, like, reefer madness?
Oh and it's gonna go on for quite some time, unfortunately, I believe.
And so it's like people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be legal. It's gonna be legal. It's like, no, it's gonna be regulated. That's all it's gonna be. It's gonna be regulated.
I had a fella ask me Saturday at the Global Marijuana March about legalization, and I said that unfortunately, there's a lot of different views on what legalization means. You know, some people look at legalization as, you know, same as tomatoes, where you can grow them in your backyard, or you can sell them out, you know, privately or personally if you want. Others are looking at legalization where there's a little bit of you know, control on it. Like, for example, you know, eggs have regulation and control, but yet the farmer can put up a table at the end of his driveway with a cooler with eggs inside of it, and people can come up and buy them. You know, then other people look at cannabis legalization is the tax and regulation that is coming forward, where, you know, there's tight control. So there are different versions, and everybody's got their own way of looking at it, and yeah, it's caused some conflicts for sure.
Oh my gosh, so I saw an article about the government getting into selling cannabis accessories. Could you imagine?
Yeah, here in Ontario. Yeah, here in Ontario, they want to start selling bongs and papers and stuff at the OCS stores. You know,
and where are they going to get it from?
Oh, I don't know where they're going to get it from. I imagine they're going to find it. They'll get it from distributors, anyways, and they'll start selling it in the stores. But you know, you go into the liquor store. Do you find any accessories in the liquor store? None.
Well, no, but I guess the reason why I'm laughing is like most of those distributors were probably like illegal in a sense, because before it was illegal to sell. Wasn't it illegal to sell bongs? And et cetera. So now you're going to go to these illegal markets for help? Like, oh my gosh, right?
You know, some people say bongs are still illegal here in the province, but it's not enforced. But yet here they are, they're going to start selling them.
Well, really? So, like, and so I guess has that been taken out of the law there? Well, it begs the question, right?
Yeah. See what happens. But yeah, they want to start selling accessories. They don't sell accessories at the LCBO. And when it comes to the beer store, I think they may have a few minor accessories, but it's nothing like, you know, walking into your head shop here, like here at Canada's, and having shelves and shelves of bongs and pipes. So I don't know what these OCS stores are going to be like. Are they going to be a combination of a head shop where you can buy cannabis at, where they're doing things that the private sector wants to do and the government's refusing them to do it?
Well, I guess, you know, we'll just have to wait and see, you know, like how that manifests. But
yes, we will. All right, Alicia, go ahead.
Has the government there said like where they're going to be getting their marijuana from?
Right now, they're going to be purchasing them from the licensed producers, but they don't have any signed contract with certain producers like some of the provinces have done. From last I had read, they want to be able to keep things open to be able to work with all the licensed producers, not just a few.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
so I don't know. They got to look at, does that increase variety? So, all right, Alicia. Being that our guest has left and he's already done a shout out, have you got somebody you'd like to throw a shout out to?
Yes, I would. I would like to throw a shout out to everyone at Pace and for being awesome over there, and everyone at Shatterizer for sending me a Shatterizer.
All right.
Thank
yes.
you so much. Yep.
Yes. I'm sure they're saying thank you to you too. Thank you for everything that you do. So. All right. Let's see. Let's wrap this thing up. Okay. I will be back next week with my joint host, Kim Cooper, and her special guests. You can find the Pace Radio Show. We're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter as at Pace Radio, and we're on Instagram as the Pace Radio Show. And we're on the web, pace-online.ca. Thank you, as always, friendly folks at CC Nexus. They can be found at ccnexus.global. To the gang here at Canada's of Campbellford for providing us with a location to do the broadcast and help educate people, as well as the man behind the baggie, Lifestyle Radio's producer, Al Rapp. Our guest, Chris Jordan of the Best Bud Society. Thanks, Chris. I know it's going to be a while before we have you back on, but we'll get him there, won't we, Alicia?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. We'll get him back on sometime down the road.
For
Never
sure.
say never. All right, and Alicia, as always, thank you to you.
Thank you, Al.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning into the program. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.